All right, it's number 4, video number 4. Hopefully you watched number 3 first, and you have this code that I'm starting with. So today, right now, we're going to add attributes to our car class. We're going to add position, velocity, and color vectors to it. Then we're going to spawn a couple of cars, because right now we only have one car. It's called My Car. So we're going to have My Car 1 and My Car 2. And then we're going to spawn a lot more cars than that. So we're going to have to use an array and a couple of for loops for that. So let's get started, shall we? Hooray. So get to your code. Your code probably looks like this. You've got one My Car. You've got the setup stuff here. Here's where we're spawning the car. Here's where we're displaying and driving it. And then this is our car class, right? This is its own thing, right? So there's a beginning and ending curly bracket here. This is self-contained. It is not embedded in the draw. See, draw has got its own beginning and ending curly bracket. Very important. So also, the methods inside this class have got their own beginning and ending curly bracket. And look at this crazy one's got a whole bunch, right? Because it's got that. Here's where we're adding the velocity to move the car across the screen, right? And then here's where we're checking to see if it's greater than the width. We want to set it equal to 0. Okay, and there's the ending of that if, but then there's the ending of that function here, that method, function method. And then here's the end of the car class. So you guys already know 99% of your guys' errors are that you forgot this. Like you have this and then you're like, oh no, I'm missing one. So you put it at the end. Can't do that, right? Everybody's got to have, everything's got to be contained, just like us being quarantined right now, right? Okay, so let's move on then. So what did I say? First thing we're going to do is add attributes to the car class. So right now this car class only has, everybody's got an X location and it all starts at 100. So that kind of sucks, right? It'd be neat if all the cars were spawned at different places. And right now we only have one car, so it's not too big of a deal, but let's make another car, shall we? Var my car 2. Okay, and then we have to spawn it here. My car 2 equals new car. I'm using add and beautify here. Okay, so now we'll have 2 cars. Okay, now we'll have to display and drive both the cars. So we got to add my car 2 display and my car 2 drive. But that's it. We don't have to touch the car class at all. Now we've added a second car. If I look at this though, oops, that's what we're finally going to make at the end here. Where's my, I better click on here. I better click on this index, open in browser, and I've got just one. Where's the other one? Well, funnily enough, the other one is on top of the first one. So we can see that by, if I see they're all spawning at 100, if I spawn them at a random place, random, let's do random width, so spawn somewhere in here, right? Okay. Then we're going to see a couple of them. Look, hey, see they're spawning at different places on the X axis. I'm going to get rid of all this stuff here. We've got too much stuff going on. It's a little choppy. Oh, it's less choppy now. Okay. So back to this. Let's give every car its X and Y position. Where's me? I gotta see me. Here I am. Okay. So let's give each car an X and a Y attribute. So actually, instead of calling this X and then having another one Y, I'm going to just call this dot pos for this dot position. And then I'm going to make a vector here. So that's going to be an X and a Y. It's going to be like a little cup with an X and a Y in it. So the way you do that in this program here is you can write create vector. Notice the capital V there. Like it's all what they call camel notation. There's other ways of calling this too, right? So now I can put an X and a Y. So I could spawn all of my cars at 100, 100, but it'd probably be better to spawn them at a random place, right? So random, I'll do random width and random height. You guys have already seen this code, random height. You've used this code before. So now all the cars will spawn at a random position, and this is going to resolve to what, 800, because I got it 800 in the X there, and that's going to resolve to 800 too because of that, right? So let's see what that does. So now they'll, oh, now I'm going to have a problem actually. I can't check it because now my cars all have a dot pies. They don't have an X anymore. So when you've used create vector, you get this dot pos and then you get a dot X and a dot Y. So I'm going to write this dot pos because I've got this, and then if in order to get the X location out of this vector, I can do dot X in there. And then so here I'll put this dot pos dot Y. So you've got to make sure that you do that. Okay? And then here, this is kind of cool. Here we're gonna, maybe we'll just add 5 to the X position right now. This dot pos dot X and this dot pos dot X. You gotta make sure it's this dot pos dot X. And here we'll do this dot pos dot X. Everything's gotta be this dot pos dot X. We're not gonna deal with the Y just yet. All right, that should work. So a lot of times you're either working on your class or you're working on the stuff that runs your objects that came out of your class. So right now we're solely going to be working inside our class. So I saved it, no, I didn't save it. Save, and then let's see. So each car should have a different Y position, but they're all still moving on the X. So that's kind of cool. Every car's got a different position. I don't know what happened to my Y position on that one, on that second one. Cool. So if I wanted to add a third car now, I could add another var my car. Don't add too many cars here because later on we're gonna just spawn. We're gonna use an array and spawn 100 cars. So let's do one more thing here. So into our car class again, we've got a position now. It's a vector, so that's kind of cool. So there's a neat way to add vectors together in P5.js, and it's just called .add. So see how right here we're adding a velocity of 5. Let's make every car have its own velocity too. So let's get rid of all this crap in here. We're gonna do this over again, this part here. So we're going to redo the drive function now. Okay, so let's add an attribute that's called velocity, this .vel. And it can be the same thing. It'll be a vector also. And then here, this would make every car have a velocity of 3 going to the right on the X axis, and 3 going down on the Y, right? So if I change this to 5, they would all be going 5. They'd all be going like down. I think that's the wrong direction. They'd all be going to the right 5 and down 5. So that's kind of cool. But what if we want them to go backwards, like negative to right, like all the different directions and stuff? Wouldn't that be cool? So we're going to use a random in here too. Random. And then remember, you can do a range. So let's do random -5, 5. That'll give them an X velocity of between -5 and 5. Okay. Same thing here. Random -5, 5. That'll be really cool, right? Touching my face again. So in order to add that velocity in the drive function, you're just going to do this. This dot pos dot add. Cool, huh? We don't have to know how to add matrices together anymore. We can just write the word add. This dot vel. That'll be really cool. All right, let's see what happens. So I saved it. I'm going to here. I'm going to reload, and they should just, yeah, they're going different directions. They're going to go off the screen though, because I don't have that check, right? That once they go off the screen, we reloop them. So that's going to be the hardest thing for you guys. Phew, but they're going away. Okay, so to add that part, let's add the part here. Remember the if statement that says if the car goes off the screen, so if it goes past width, set it equal to 0. Let's add that. So the secret key phrase for this part of the video is your favorite hobby. Okay. So if you have questions on this, you're going to have to tell me the secret key phrase. Here, after we added the velocity, we're going to need to add an if statement. We're going to need to add 4 if statements. So this is going to be really tough for some of you guys. So remember, if the x went past the screen to the right, we want to reload it to 0. I may be backwards on this, but I hope I'm not. Okay, so if you went past the screen, past width, you want to set it equal to 0. If you're going backwards and you went to the left of the screen, you went past 0, you want to set it equal to width. If your y, because we have a y thing now, right? If your y went past height, we want to set it equal, reboot yourself. Go away, error. Oh my God. If your car went past, oh my God, what's going on? It's going to try to reboot me here. If your car went past, if your car went past the height of the screen, you want to set its y location to 0 again. Okay, and if it went past the top, if it's less than the height or less than 0, we want to set it equal to height. Oh my God. Let's just write that in here. So if this dot x is greater than, went past the width, this one you guys have seen, right? You can just write this in here. Then this dot x equals 0 went past. Okay? If this dot x is less than 0, this dot x equals, oh, it's got to be this dot pos dot x. Oh my God. I think I may have to start this again. This dot pos dot x. Too many things have gone wrong. My sister's going to send me pictures of herself doing yoga in a minute. Okay, so if it went to the left of 0, we want to set it equal to width because it's got a negative velocity. So here we want to set it equal to width. All right, so now the y's, right? If this dot pos dot y is greater than height, this dot pos dot y equals 0. It went past the bottom of the screen. We want to set it equal to 0, the y aspect. And then if it's going up, this dot pos dot y is less than 0 because it's got a negative y component to its velocity. This dot pos dot y equals height. So it went past the screen, we want to set it back to height again. Okay, if you need help on that, then you're going to have to tell me your favorite hobby. Let's see if this works. And so these things should loop. Yay, and then it's kind of looping. So you can see, and you should have 2 things and they should be looping. If they're not looping, then you have this code wrong. So check it. Check everything. There's a greater than and a less than, greater than, less than here. And there's 0 width, and these 2 lines are about the x position, the x component, and these 2 are about the y component. Okay? Awesome. Let's move on. How many times have I said okay? So we've added a position and a velocity. Ooh, let's add a random color to each car. That'll be fun. So adding a random color, we don't do it up here. We don't do a fill command here. We got to go in here and add another attribute. So I made all the other classes do this before. Was the quick time here. If I'm asking you to change the car, add something different to it, you got to say, oh, she means add another attribute. So say it with me. Oh, she means add an attribute. So if I'm telling you every car should have a color or a name or wheels, that means, oh, she means add another attribute. The attributes are here, remember? So we'll do for a color, we'll do RGB because that's easiest if you can believe that. So this dot R equals, here we can do a random color, right? 255. And then this dot G, random 255. I'll bet that typing is really loud. This dot B, random 255. Those of you guys who are inclined can figure out a cool way of randomizing a hex number if you want. But feel free to do that and send it to me, and I'll give you extra credit. Now that we've added an attribute, every car's got an R and a G and a B, we've got to use it. So we'll use that in the display function. We'll put a fill command in here, fill, and then this will be this dot R, comma this dot G, comma this dot B. That is how every car will have a random color. Let's see if that's true or not. Yay, every car has a random color. And clicked on it again. So every time you run this code, every car is going to have a random color, totally different color. Mine is running very choppily. Okay, that's cool. So we've done this now. We've added attributes to the car class. We've also spawned a couple of cars, but let's spawn a whole lot of cars. So that means we're going to need an array of cars and a for loop. So here's how we're going to do that. And this is like the big long day of class. If you guys were in class right now, I'd make you get up and do like push-ups and stuff. So should we do that in here? We'll do some jumping jacks. I'll do some jumping jacks. Ready? So 1, 2. All right, good. 2 jumping jacks. Let's get back to business. So if I told you guys to add 100 cars, you're not going to write var my car 1, my car 2, my car 3, my car 4, and stuff like that. No, let's get rid of that. So we will make an array of cars. So the way to do that is you do this. Var, let's just call it cars instead of my cars because it just seems stupid. Var cars equals array, like that. Here we don't have a my car 1 and a my car 2 anymore. We're going to have cars. And the way to add to an array, this type of array in JavaScript is to push onto it. So we're going to write cars.push, the word push. And then in here, this is how we spawn a new car. So this will make a car, new car. Gotta make sure that I've got, oh my goodness, there we go. Okay, so that will make one car. Let's get this my car and my car 2 out because we don't have that anymore. So that will add one car. If I want to add 100, I've got to copy this line 100 times. That sucks. So God created what's called a for loop for you to do stuff 100 times. So if you write the word for, now this is really hard. This is like the hardest command for a lot of people to get. You just kind of have to memorize it. So for loop has got like 3 different parts to the top of it. It's got a beginning, so a lot of times we'll write var I equals 0. You guys are going to just copy this code. You don't need to really understand it right now. For var I equals 0, I is less than, and I usually stands for index. We'll make 20 cars, so hopefully your computer can handle 20 different cars going. So then this is when people are like, oh, I'm going to see how many cars I can spawn. So go ahead and make more after you try this working first. And then here you do I++. And what this means, so I'm going to encase this also in curly brackets, even though I don't really need to at this point. What this means is starting with an index of 0, go while the index is less than 20 and add 1 to it each time. So I'm not even using the I inside here. This is just going to run 20 times. Sometimes you can like write down console log. Here, console. It's taking too long, but console log I, so it'll like count, it'll do stuff. And sometimes I might want to use the name, like the number of the car inside the car, so I might add it in there. But for right now, hopefully you've got this. These different things here are separated with semicolons, okay, not colons, so it's the dot with the comma underneath it, and there's never a semicolon here. Don't put a semicolon there, okay? So again, the secret code to the secret phrase to this part of the video is you need to tell me your favorite food or make something up. And so now we've got this area. So we've made a whole bunch of cars, but now we need to figure out how to display and drive them. So what you can do here is you can copy this, because you're going to have to run this. You're going to have this going 20 times too. So copy your for loop here, okay? And you can do that. You can say, now you can have, so we're going to do cars instead of my car. And you can do car display and car drive. Okay, there's something important here. When you're using an array and you want to get an element out of the array, you're going to use square brackets. So if I put a 0 in there, I'm taking the first element out of the array. If I put a 1, I'm getting the next element, and so on and so on. So this is why we like to use this I in here. We can stick I there, and you stick I over here. And then you've got, now we're pulling every car out and displaying it and driving it. And actually right here, instead of putting 20 there, we ought to use the length of the cars array. So you can do cars.length, and that will always tell you what the length of that array is. Let's see if it will work. And again, we don't have to change the car class at all. We're changing how many cars now. So hopefully you will get 20 cars flailing around here, or you'll get an error. So that'll be interesting to see what my error is. Oh, cars.length is not a function. Yeah, I had a feeling. Okay, awesome. So that's the end of this video. If you guys have questions, please email me or text me. You guys have my phone number. You can Zoom me. You can do whatever you want. But you have to watch these videos first, please, before you ask me questions, because it's the same. I'll have the same shirt on when I explain the answers to you and stuff. But if you run into problems with your code, please get in touch with me as soon as you run into the problems. Text me as soon as you run into them, and I'll bet I can help you fix it. All right, yay.